Okay. So I think that worked. It took me a moment to get my YouTube live. Now we'll get everything else. Okay. I think we're all good. So, welcome to Community Breathing and Tension Release. Just organizing all of my different devices. I'm using 3 devices today. So I had to fiddle around a little bit. So let me just make sure the view is all good. All right, so we're doing this class every Wednesday from 12 to 12:45. Today, I'm just going to do a classic version where we start on the floor, and maybe we'll come up either sitting or standing for the breathing and standing portion. Yeah, I've got this on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram Live all at one time. So quite interesting for me. So we're just going to relax, get everything going with our breath, releasing into the body here, and trying to let go of any tension or tightness. So we're going to start seated on the floor. You can find a position, hopefully. All right. Okay, hopefully I'm in a good spot. It's hard to organize the view between portrait and landscape. It seems like it changes. I don't know. Hopefully on one of them, it'll be correct. So we're just going to start seated on the floor, relaxing in the hips and the lower back. You can sit on a cushion. You can prop yourself up a little bit if your hips feel a little bit tight, or your lower back, or both. You can cross your feet. You can take a little sort of like a diamond shape, relaxing out, or you can bring your feet out wide here. So let me just change one thing. For some reason, the camera looks really big. It's a little different on every device. So we're just going to start by finding our sits bones, right? So we have these prominent bones in the seat of our pelvis. And that's connecting into our spine. So we're just going to rock a little bit side to side and start to feel the sits bones get heavier. As we focus on the bones, we're trying to relax the tissue around the bones. So it doesn't have to be as big as I'm doing. You can relax and close your eyes. Find a sense of dropping down into the base of your spine and the base of your pelvis with your breath. So we just want to take a moment and find a sense of plumb line, releasing the breath all the way down into the base of the spine and the pelvis. You might find that your jaw and chin relax. You don't have to pull your jaw in and back. Just feel that it relaxes and let it fall where you feel released through the back of your head, all the way down into the tail of your spine. You'll start to feel maybe a release through the shoulders. We're starting to bring our focus inward into the body, releasing any external thoughts and tensions. Start to focus on your breath, feeling your breath drop down into your spine, into the base of your spine. So now we feel a nice release through the low back. You might feel that you've dropped back into your tail a little bit, and that's a nice feeling. And now we can do that little side to side shift in the sits bones. We're just finding them. We want to feel them. I know that sometimes you might know where it's at. We know where they are, but let's just sort of feel them a little bit today. Then we're going to rest in through the center. Feel that the tail of your spine releases through the floor. And then we're just going to gently open the eyes, taking the palms together. We're going to start to draw the breath up into the palms, sliding and gliding back and forth, relaxing through the fingers. So we want to get a nice sense of energy moving into our hands using the breath. Feel that your breath comes up through into your hands. So we're going to use our palms to disperse a sense of release through the breath all throughout our body with this. We're beginning this process here. And then let's relax the palms and just let the palms open, feeling that energy between our palms, feeling the breath between our palms. We're going to let that breath expand out through the arms, through the palms. Feel that you're breathing out into the space around you. This is wherever you feel comfortable. You want to start to feel the breath from inside, explore and move through your body, all around through your space, through the outside. We're letting the breath come from the most internal place in relating into our external environment. So we're breathing and expanding in every direction. This is soft and gentle. Feel that your breath carries you into the space in every direction, up above, down below, around the sides, behind you. You don't have to move your arms so much or feel that you have to stretch. We're letting your arms float and release. We're breathing and opening. You can think of your vertebrae expanding into every direction, just a sense of yawning from inside. Then we're going to reach out, gathering the energy and the breath through the palms. Bring that over your face, over your eyes, and just sensing that for a moment. And then wash it over your face, around your eyes, relaxing through the face, letting a sense of breath and release wash over your face. Now we're going to go a little bit more into the face, using our fingertips into the brow bone. So again, using the breath, we're going to carve and massage from the inside along the brow bone to the outside with a little bit of a lift into the hairline up. So we're using a nice exhale, breathing and opening, relaxing the face. Breathing into that release from the center of the face, out and opening and up. Then we're going to bend our index finger, using your finger to carve under the eyes along the orbital bone. So we're breathing from the inside to the outside, again with that nice little lift up. And exhale, relaxing your face to feel a sense of openness and release from the center out. And breathing through that carving, lengthening and releasing through the sinuses, big thing right now. And then we're going to take our fingertips onto the forehead, just scrubbing up and down, moving the skin and thinking of sort of ironing out any wrinkles or lines there. We're really flushing through the lymph on the forehead, letting it go. Then we're going to come around to the outside of the eyes, the temples. Very, very light circular motion here. We only want to just sort of move in the surface of the skin. We're not pressing on the temples here. We're just letting some energy flow there. Then we're going to travel down, relax your jaw, let your jaw hang open a little bit. We're going to use our fingertips. We want to palpate a little bit more pressure into up above and between the jaw and releasing through the muscle here. So sort of exploring, you can use more pressure and go around in different places. Try to let your jaw relax as you're doing this and use your breath to release if you feel it's really tight and tense. Huge tension zone here, especially with computer work these days. And then we're going to come around up above the ears into the scalp. So we're just scrubbing and lifting up above the ears towards the crown of the head, feeling that we release and lengthen any pressure around from the ears. We're working our way around through the backs of the ears in another nice sort of upward motion from the back of the head. So from the bottom of your skull there so through your cranium, just lifting up off of the spine of it with your breath. And then we're going to go right into that crease between the head and the neck here. So right at the top of the spine, the occipital zone, and we're taking a nice lateral massage, breathing through the palms. You can sort of rest your head a little bit there, but we want to feel taller. We want to feel that we're getting a little bit more length and space as we breathe into this. Make your way a little bit more to the outsides by your ears. breathing into this. And then we'll come back in close to the spine. Now we're going to take a nice circular pattern, resting into your fingertips a little bit more. So we're breathing and massaging, releasing. We're working our way down the back of the neck until we've reached the top of the shoulders. And now once we reach the top of the shoulders, we're going to dig the fingers in and back over the traps. Dig and peel and breathe and sweep. And as we sweep, we're going to shake the hands off and release anything that's held there. And then go back a bit again. Relax your shoulders. Take a nice long exhale. Let it go. And again. And sweeping through. Letting it go. So now we're going to find the breath from the base of the spine, interlace the fingers, let the breath lift you up internally through the spine. We're going to breathe and lift and lengthen through the arms all the way up. Now, some people might not be able to stretch through their arms. It's not about stretching through your arms. Feel that the lengthening and release of the arms through the shoulders comes from the base up. You might be a softer and maybe even more forward because of your shoulder tightness. Let this support build into the stretch here, breathing up and lifting. And then we're going to breathe through and lift up, again, shifting on the sits bones, feeling that heaviness through the sits bones as we shift, getting a nice sense of release from bone and tissue. Feel that your breath helps you release through the bones. And let the tissues around the bones soften up a little bit. And then we'll come back through center, relax the tail, let the arms drape down in front. We have a nice little circular drape here. We're going to make a circle, sweeping the arms around through the side. As we sweep through the side, we're breathing through the chest. The elbow bends, we breathe through the side ribs, through the front of the chest, through the other side ribs. Now our tail sweeps under as the arms come forward, around, and down. We're just making a circle. It's not about the arms, it's the breath through the chest, expanding the ribs, relaxing the shoulders, breathing through the ribs. Let the tail soften. Find the breath through the back rib cage here. Inhale, poke your elbow up to the ceiling to make space for the breath through your ribs. Up and over, exhale. Let your tail soften to come forward and around. Letting the breath in, elbow, really soft through the elbows, not pushing through the palms. Take a little pause with your breath up here. Change the direction. Imagine your breath getting in between your ribs, in between the webbing of your ribs through the intercostals, expanding and opening. And exhale. Soft tail to come forward. Relax the shoulders, find that elbow breathing through the ribs and up. And exhale over, relaxing the tail to come forward. Letting the breath in, finding your elbow, breathing in between the ribs up. We're going to stay up here. Feel the breath come from the base of the spine, again, lifting you up through center, nice and tall. Feel that support lifting you as you release the arms open. We float out around the spine, the arms hanging from the spine, and then just soften and release. Good. So now we're going to bring the feet out in front here. Bring your feet out into a comfortable position. You can take them as far apart as you feel comfortable in your hips and your back here. We're going to just let the head hang over. Feel that your head relaxes first. Try not to match any range you see maybe in my body. Try to feel in your body with starting with your head. Let your head go forward and just keep breathing into the release through the weight of your head and see how that affects the release through the spine, through the back, especially through the lower back. Soften your knees, soften your feet. Breathe into that release. Find a nice softness through the neck. Sometimes we're hanging our head and we're not relaxed in the neck yet. It takes just a moment. With breathing into that, we're going to exhale and just do a little release through the head with the breath. We're not trying to move from the head. We're releasing through the head from the breath, letting go, especially through the nose.
feeling that the breath behind the nose relates from the spine to release a little bit more softly. And then just relaxing and hanging. Now we're going to sway the head from side to side, breathing and shifting and swaying. So initiating through your head, which is pretty heavy, to flush through a release around the back of the ribs. You can think of a nice diagonal breath through the back of the ribs from the waist area. So as if you're breathing up off of the waist in a little diagonal as you sway. We're starting to feel a nice little shifting in our sits bones, dropping down and shifting. We're going to think of our sits bones like they're little feet. We're going to lift up through one hip and walk backwards. So we're walking back along the floor and just dragging your leg. Breathing into the bones, breathing into the sacrum, feeling that your breath comes through the sacrum. So you're starting to build a sense of connection through the base of the spine and pelvis. And we're not letting any tension overpower in the legs. Once we've gone back a little bit, now we're going to come forward, push off, walk from your hip. You can soften your knee and just drop the leg out, lifting up and over, drop, and shifting and over and releasing. So we're feeling how we can move in our hips from engaging in the pelvis, and the legs follow. So we're not trying to use our feet. We're not trying to pull. It's a little bit different. And then finding that release, relaxing and hanging over. Feel that your tail gets really heavy and draws down through the floor. Let the breath come in and up along the front of your spine. Let the breath carry you from the base all the way through. And once you get almost to the top, you might want to let that go, but keep the breath from down below, bringing you up until you're all the way up. And this is your, elongated posture here. Then you can just relax it and let it go. So now from here, we're going to use our hands, our fists, very loose here. A nice little scoop through the low belly, and we're going to drum into the sacrum, breathing into the sacrum and going all around the sacrum towards the outside into our glutes a little bit here, letting the breath very loose in the wrist, like I said here. We're going to come back into close to the spine, go up the sides of the spine, breathing into the kidney zone. If your shoulders will let your hands go there. And then we're coming all the way back down again. And then we're going to take our fist right into the sides of the hips and just kind of bounce off the sides of the hips here, feeling a nice release and breath there. And then we're going to take this from a circular motion from the back of the hip from one side to the other. So we're feeling that we can flush any tension and tightness down and out through the leg, out through our feet, out through our toes. And then we're going to come around the sides of the legs. Now we're going to open the palm. Use the heels of your hands, very loose again. We're going around the sides of the legs in a nice fluffy circular motion. We want to relax through the muscles, let the breath come through your palms. We're going down those IT band lines along the sides of the legs here, scooping and releasing, getting some breath into that fascia there. We're making our way all the way down to the knees, right up above the knees where our quadriceps attach into the knees. We're going to just pat and release and breathe around the tops of the knees, releasing any tension or tightness we feel above the knees. And then taking our fingertips, very lightly tapping right into the kneecaps, into the knee joint. We want to feel vibration here, traveling through the fingertips, letting that vibration wake up the joint from inside. So every time we take a step on the ground, our nervous system identifies that vibration and activates. And so we're sort of manipulating that process here. We're going to travel down the shin bones, breathing, feeling that vibration, wake up all the way down to our ankles, if you can reach there. Coming back up the shins, breathing, letting the feet relax. And then we're going to lean back, use the heels of the hands to flush down through the quads. We're going along the thigh bone, giving more pressure here, breathing and massaging and lengthening.
and acknowledge the shape of your leg. Your leg is round, and we want to go a little bit to the outside, not just over top, and also a little bit to the inside. Give a good amount of pressure and feel nice and long and released here. It's going to feel lumpy because our muscles cross and things like that, but we're just getting a sense of length and release here. We're going to come down on the outside of the shins, the peroneals, loose, finding the heels of the hands, flushing in that circular motion again, breathing and releasing, and just letting your palms bounce off of your legs here, waking things up there. Of course, they do not get very much, the peroneals, so we want to let them wake up and activate a little bit. And then we're going to bring the feet back. So when we do this, we're not trying to stretch. We're just relaxing the knees out to get into the inner adductor lines of the legs here. So let's use the top of the palm. You can relax your tail and go down from the hips, releasing through the inner thighs. We want to feel a sense, again, of releasing from the pelvis in a downward motion, and travel along that inner thigh line towards your knees in the downward motion. Breathing and releasing through that. And then we're going to gently flex through the heels. We slightly engage through the calves here. Not a really strong flex. Use your fist, use your breath to drop into your calves. So you're going to start to feel that we're laterally affecting them. So we're trying to move them in a slightly different direction than they normally engage. And we're using our breath to release of that. If they're feeling tender or tight, you can just take a lighter drop with a little bit more repetition, so less impact, breathing into that, especially focusing not only just on your calf muscles, but traveling lower into your Achilles tendon area, into the soleus, Achilles, going all throughout that lower leg region, and just sort of finding where you need to go. So sometimes you want to stay in one spot because you need it a little bit more. And then we're going to let the palms come back behind us, let the legs come out, a nice little shake out on the floor, little shifting in the hips and the shoulders, letting that release here. Now we're going to take one knee up, let the breath come in. We're going to exhale from the abdomen, the low belly. We start to give a little scoop and let go. Change feet up, start the breath, and again. So we're letting the leg go. We're not trying to force the back of the knee down. We're lengthening along the floor. So just letting whatever natural release comes through of your leg from the breath. We feel the leg let go, but there's a gathering through the base of the spine and the pelvis, because we can let go more safely if we have some connection in contrast. And then just relaxing the legs. Let's just do little taps here through the toes. So we're just rolling in and out into the hip sockets. Little taps, feeling that we move in the hips, getting a little bit of that rotation freedom in the hips without engaging too much in the muscles. And then we're going to come in. We're going to start to go into the feet a little bit more. Rolling through the ankles, starting to breathe into the feet, little circular motions or any kind of movement that helps you feel your feet. We're sort of waking up our feet here. We're going to relax the feet on the floor. We're going to massage right into the inside heel ankle bone area. So lots of little tendons and connective tissue here. Get a nice sort of vigorous massage in there, breathing into that. So of course, a lot of us roll in on this part of the ankle. We're just sort of waking that up to feel maybe a little bit more lengthened and lifted and aware through this area, especially as you're standing and walking. Even something like this really helps. And then we're going to come underneath the feet, maybe using your thumbs, a deeper massage, flushing from the heels through the soles of the feet, all the way up through into the balls of the feet, and out through the toes. So you want to start to feel that sense of lengthening and releasing all the way through the toes from the foot. So your toes are responding to whatever is happening inside of your foot. And we want to feel, and a lot of times the toes do all kinds of things. So we want to let the toes release and free up because we're releasing the foot. So the foot expands and breathes open. Let's take our hands under the balls of the feet and hold space in between the toes. We're trying to relax the feet and breathe into that release while we hold that space through the toes, and just feel how your foot is nice and open and relaxed here. We're going to release the palms out, come back behind you. We're going to bend the knees. So now from here, we're going to do some walking through the feet. We gather the legs together. We want to feel that we bring the legs together into our midline, right? So if their spine is your midline, and the midline continues down in between the legs and out through your feet. We gather the legs by collecting the outside top hips here, wrapping through your sits bones. So we know where our sits bones are. Hands are going to be behind on the floor. A nice little scoop and curl, wrap the sits bones and send the energy through your feet. We're walking, stretch the toes out wide. Use your toes to peel up and forward through your heel. Use your breath, exhale from the hips down and out and walk. So we're doing this doming through the foot. Exhale, toes, and walk. Once you get too far away, then we're going to reverse this. We're going to start with the toes going up and over and under. Breathe through the feet and drag from the heels. The balls of the feet and the toes are more relaxed, especially as you draw back. We want to feel the sole of the foot expand into the floor, especially where the arches are. So let the arch release, especially if you have high arches, it's overly active there. Let the foot release and expand. Go forward one more time. Exhale from the hips and walk. Breathing out. Feel that your breath travels through the soles of your feet, melting your arches into the floor like a puddling effect, and breathing through. And then just relaxing, shaking the legs out. We're going to bring the feet back in. And now again, whatever position is comfortable for you, crossing, diamond, feet out, sitting up on something, lifting up. We're going to breathe through the chest and the ribs. Nice little circular motion. As you take a deep breath in, feel the chest expand. As you exhale, feel that softness and drop. This is the happy hamster. And releasing. So we're just starting to wake up through the organs, feeling a sense of distance and space between the chest and the pelvis. We're going to come down into the front of the hips and just massage into the lymph here, checking things out into the front of the hips. And then we're coming up right into the center of the chest. So into our breastplate, into this cartilage here, relaxing and just a little scrubbing up and down, releasing your breath. A lot of tension gets held in here. And then we're going to take nice little strokes down from the ribs into in the base of the pelvis, go around the side, up underneath the ribs, waking everything up underneath. So these little taps are just sort of neurologically stimulating everything in a very gentle way, which is wonderful and easy. You don't have to do too much to let your body wake up like this. Come around to the other side one more time. And then just relaxing through center, relax the arms and the shoulders here. We're going to let the head relax over. Take your opposite hand and just breathe, massage into the front of the shoulder. So the pectoral going into the front of the shoulder. Sometimes your shoulder is a little bit more forward here. So just relaxing your head. You can let your head move around a little bit, breathing into that, or it doesn't have to move. You can just find a sense of release there. Again, lots of lymph in this area, so just flushing through and breathing there. Come through center over to the other side, relaxing and massaging into that side. You can close your eyes. Again, feel that your breath comes through your hand, through your touch. So you're letting that release come through each little part we go over in the body. And then we'll come back through center, relaxing the shoulders here. We're going to start to gather the breath from the base of the spine up. As we do that, we soften the tail, feel the breath on the inhale, gather and lift up. The arms are lifting like we're taking off a shirt, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up. As we exhale, we release the arms and feel that floating up, that plumb line through the spine. Start from the base of the spine, relax the shoulders and the arms, let the breath take you up. So the connection internally elongates your spine, lifting up pressure off of your seat, lifting, lifting, lifting. Then we exhale and just let them go. And again, soft breath brings you up. Lifting, 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 feeling your chest lift off of your hips and let go. Now we shake it all out. Relaxing in the shoulders, the head, the neck, feeling the breath come from your upper back ribs here, through your elbows, through your wrists and your hands, your fingertips, letting that release come all the way through. So you can think of this like a nice released V from the spine going down and out. So you're just letting gravity help that release come through until you feel a nice little fuzzy feeling all the way down into your fingertips, letting, that release through your circulation take effect here. And then we're gonna come together with the palms, interlace the fingers, and just do a little compression release with the palms, squeezing and letting go. You can shear. You can do a little bit of a forward and back motion as you breathe through your hands. And then here, relaxing the wrists and just gliding around. Relax your shoulders with this and try not to feel too tense in the shoulders. Your breath is guiding this momentum to release. And let that movement come through naturally. So the more you can find release, the more it comes out through your body and expresses. And then reverse it. It's not going to feel as natural, of course. So we want to just balance out the brain here a little bit, letting the breath come through again. And then taking the hands apart, feeling the breath open and squeeze from the center of the palm and in. So your fingers expand from the palm. We don't want to feel that the fingers pull and the palm has to create tension pulling back in. From the palm, the fingers open and the palm brings the fingers in. So we feel a sense of expanding and opening through the joints without pulling too much tension back inward. We let that process release and open into the space. And hopefully that gives you a sense of softness in your hands here. Now, we're going to take a deep breath in. Again, feel the breath come from the base of the spine, lifting you up. Inhale. Now we're going to take a squeezing exhale. We're going to squeeze and exhale, squeezing the breath out, squeeze through the fingertips, the toes, the eyes. Keep exhaling, 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 scooping, 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 squeezing the breath out as much as you can until you don't have any more breath left. As the breath comes in, float open and expand up. And again, finding that squeeze, squeezing out. So these are all our distal points, fingertips, toes, eyes. We're compressing through the nerve lines with the breath, squeezing out anything negative, physical or emotional, using your breath to push it out, letting you in. One more time, using your breath to squeeze and compress anything you don't need or want anymore. So you're making space for new anythings to come in. Letting the breath in, expanding, floating open. On this last one, we're going to exhale, but we're gathering from the space around us, gathering new energy, bringing that into our center. Using the breath to envelop that newness into the center of the body. And then just letting the breath release the arms up. and just letting go of anything that's left. So now we'll come around to the back of the neck and to the top of the neck, the occiput. And we're just gonna feel the length. Let's interlace the hands. Let your head, the back of your head, rest into your hands here. And then use your palms. Try not to use your head, but use your hands to lift up, feeling taller, 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 taller. And then sweeping the palms all the way up and open, around and down. So now from here, we're not going to do our spot today, but we're going to come around onto hands and knees and just give a little bit of something through the legs. So hands and knees, we're going to tuck your toes under. So the toes tuck under to expose our heel. So we're reaching through the heel. This is what starts everything. That heel glides and then the whole leg starts to slide back. So we feel the breath from the spine go all the way down and out through the leg. We relate from the spine through the foot, bringing that back in. So as we stretch through the leg and open up our psoas line, feeling a sense of connectivity from the spine all the way out through the joints, out through the foot. We're connecting as we're stretching, right? So you can't just be flexible. You have to have a balance. We're breathing through this release and then change. You can sort of drop down into that hip that's lengthened a bit to breathe into it. Maybe it's a little bit easier to release and feel. And again, toes tuck under, find your heel and breathe back. And change. And toes, finding the breath. So we're learning how to activate a sense of connectivity as we move through. We're gesturing more. So we want to feel that we can initiate movement from this place of connection internally. So we're not just thinking, oh, I'm going to put my foot back and copy what I see, right? That's one way of learning, but feeling inside your own body where your leg comes from and connects through. You can actually release and filter a lot that way. You're your best teacher, breathing through that. Now from here, on our hands and knees, we're going to just find a sense of breath into the spine. Feel the breath through your upper abdomen. The breath through the upper abdomen goes up to the ceiling to round our back. So we drop the tail. The apex of our curl is through the upper abdominal region, the lower ribs. We let the head drop as we breathe through that upper back rib cage, and the tail can drop down and the head releases. Now to come through and extend, we breathe through the abdomen along the spine. So we lift through the midline up to the ceiling continuously to filter the chest through the shoulders. So we're lifting out of the hips, lifting out of the shoulders to bring the head through. Then relax a little bit, find the breath to lift through your curl. So it's not my lower back, it's through the ribs. We lift there first. And then we feel that the pelvis can release and drop down from there. We let the shoulders relax as we breathe through this. Feel the back of your ribs expand wide. Now find the breath in and up through the spine to the ceiling. We're lifting internally so the back muscles are not overworking. We're balancing out our internal connection through the spine to bring the chest through the shoulders. So we unravel through the spine and extension by connecting. We're not trying to just initiate from the back muscles. Now from here, you can either do this standing, seated on the floor, seated in a chair. I'm going to use a stool for this today. We're going to do a little breathing. I've done it standing. I don't know if I've done this seated. I can't remember, but I'm doing it on the stool because it's a little bit different for everyone. If you want to feel, sometimes it's easier to learn this without a distraction of standing and holding your body upright. I know it sounds silly, but it's more effort. So we're finding a nice comfortable seat. Even if you're seated on a cushion, doesn't really matter. We're gonna relax into the sits bones, let the feet come out a little bit so that you're really resting into your sits bones. Our fingertips are gonna come into the low belly. This is the dantian. This is where we start the breath through the base of the spine, in and up. We're gonna do a sipping breath through the mouth, but we feel under our fingertips a scoop in and up along the spine through our engagement, but the breath initiates that always. So you can also feel that your sits bones push down through your seat or your feet push down through the floor. We want to create some contrast to start to feel the lift, right? So relax into the sits bones or your feet, closing your eyes. Initiate through that slight pressure down in the feet or the sits bones to start your sipping in and up along the spine. We're going to hold it, sustain it for a little bit, feeling the length internally. Now scoop in underneath the fingers as you exhale more. Then you can let it go. So we're practicing engaging into the spine to create elongation, sustaining it through the exhale and scooping into it. Then we release. Your breath might not feel as accessible for the length of time I'm doing it right now. Do not try to force it. Don't feel like you're holding your breath and that you're going to lose your breath. Just relax and try to find it again, and just sort of keep going with that and focus on what you're trying to do with your breath. This is another form of endurance. So you have to think of it that way, as if you're training for anything, like anything else. So relax through the sits bones, close the eyes, finding your sip again, in and up. Sustaining it and going a little deeper to sustain on the exhale. Then let it go. And again, in and up. Sustaining, deepening that sustaining on the exhale. Release. Okay. Now we're thinking of the breath coming from the same place. We're going to let the arms hang down and around the sides. The arms are going to float out, around, and up, initiating from the breath. We're going to practice that. So this is the beginning of finding where to relate internally through connection to create movement, right? So we want to feel that we're connected and aware when we're moving through any particular shape. Sometimes we do, it depends on what you're doing. So finding this connection first, relaxing through the shoulders. If your shoulders are really tight and tense, if you have something going on in the shoulders, relax your elbows, allow your arms to come forward more. Don't feel they have to go. Going back and going too far to the side and back would actually not feel good if you have something going on in the shoulders. Going a little bit forward on a V will actually do the opposite. It will help free up the back of the ribs and the scapula. We want that breath in the back there. So relaxing, find the breath, find your sits bones in your feet, pushing down first, then you sip. Feel that your arms float up from your pelvis, from the base of the spine, shoulders relax. As we exhale, the elbows soften forward, releasing the shoulders around and down, hang. Find the breath from the base of the spine again. You can even close your eyes on this. It doesn't have to be a shape or an image. Feel the expansion through the top sides of the ribs, floating your arms up. We sustain it, exhale, soften through the elbows, the shoulders, forward, around, and down, relax. Gather the breath one more time from the base up. Feeling how your shoulder blades, your scapula, glide around the back of the ribs. They're moving and relaxing and massaging. And exhale. We're going to let the arms hang, let the shoulders relax, feel the breath. We're going to circle the shoulders, but feel the breath come from the chest cavity up around the ribs and through the shoulders here. So that internal breath moves and opens through the chest and your shoulders follow. So we're initiating from the spine, from the midline to breathe open around and down. Lifting and moving around the back of the ribs. This might be just nice to feel your shoulder blades moving on the back of the ribs. So there's stuff underneath in between the bones there. And we want to feel that those lateral muscles start to wake up a little bit. We're not just pinching and holding them. They actually move, they oscillate around. And then just relax, do a nice little shakeout. If you're seated, come all the way up to your feet and just take a nice little walk, feeling that release and shake out through the arms all the way around, feeling a sense of length through the tail of the spine. And then just let yourself sort of unwind through your walking. Excellent. So that is our first one of coming back to this weekly. So if anybody wants to write any special requests, like more standing, maybe some more gentle stretches, because this is on such a broad platform, I don't know how detailed I'm going to get with that, but I'm happy to adjust and move around a little bit depending on what people feel they need. More in the chair, maybe even some light, a little bit of sequencing on the floor, with letting the breath take you into more yoga moves and stuff like that. So thank you very much for joining. And every Wednesday at 12 to 12:45, the recordings will be available on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to join on Zoom, you can message me. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day. I have to figure out how to turn off all my devices now.